everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni, and yesterday we were working on cards for our journals. We're going to continue doing that. I'm going to show you some different ways of doing it. We're almost done creating these journals. There are a few things that we're going to do after we start the study, like our maps and stuff, because everybody will be doing those. And I'll show you how to do it specifically in here, as well as, you know, we've got those Abraham and Sarah. I still need to finish finding all the letters for this. We've got the Abraham and Sarah character arcs. We've got the timeline in the middle. You know, we'll be doing those during the class. So, as you can see, I've got my cutting board here. I went ahead and cut cards off camera. I didn't feel like you needed to watch me do that. And I decided, since I was doing some fairly big ones, to go ahead and use my cutting board and or paper cutter, I guess you call it. And I want to show you some things on here, just some ideas of things you can do. Okay, so normally I would have cards be like no more than 3.5 inches wide. Okay, obviously this is almost 10 inches. It's 9 3/4 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into 3 cards. And so 9 3/4, that would be 3 1/4 inches each. So what would that be? It's 6.5. I'm going to set it at 6.5 here and cut that. So we've got one nice long tall card here, and that flower came out just perfect for it. And then this one would be 3 1/4. I think this one's going to come out really nice too, actually. I didn't plan it this way, you guys. I just kind of figured it would come out the way it came out. That one's pretty good, and look at that, right in the center. Okay, so that's really nice. And since those are all the same size, I'm going to cheat and use my paper cutter to cut off the corners really quickly. And as you can see, I'm not being super careful about being perfect, but I'm kind of eyeballing it. You know, I want them to be approximately the same. I don't want them to be too wonky. Okay, so that looks nice. All right, and then I'm looking at this camel. Unfortunately, his head, I'm going to have to cut somebody off in order to get him in there. So I think I'm going to not worry about him so much. And I'm going to make the bigger camels into a card to go in one of our large pockets. And then this guy, he's no good. So we're going to put him over in the scrap pile. This I'm going to keep whole. I saw this and I thought of where God tells Abraham, count the stars, Abraham. And if you can, see if you can, because that's how many descendants you're going to have. Okay, this is another one that I want to cut. So it's 7 inches, so that's just a little bit more than 3 1/4 each, right? 7 inches, no. Oh, what is 7 divided by 3? That would be 2 inches. That's not very much. Yeah, that's fine though. That'll be good. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 and a little bit more than 1/4 inches each. Okay, I think. And this is like a field of poppies. These are all flowers that they have in Israel. So, and in the PDF, I have what kind of flower they are. And I'll probably go back and either write on a piece of brown paper or copy it onto a piece of brown paper what kind of flower they are. And each of these flowers, I mean, these I know are poppies, and put it someplace on it. I wouldn't normally do that, but for something like this, because this is, you know, a flower that grows in Israel, and that's why I chose that. I think I'd kind of like to know what they are. Okay, so 6.5. So we can do 3 1/4 each, and we've got 2 cards that way. Okay, so that gives us lots of cards. Oh, let's cut off the corners of these ones too while we're at it. Right? I hope you all don't mind that I'm doing this on camera, but I know some of you don't need to see this, but some of you are new to this, and I know that it helps. When I was first doing it, it just really helped me. I liked Gail Augustinelli for that reason, because she just does everything on camera. Some of these are shorter, so I have to move them over. She does everything on camera when she's doing a tutorial or when she's doing a craft with me, so that you can really see the whole process, and I really, really do appreciate that. Okay, I want to cut off the corner of this too. It's just faster this way. And all my scraps go in one place. And I'm actually, from cutting these up, I saved the scraps that I cut off because I want to show you how I save them for coffee dyeing and just kind of tell you how I coffee dye those. So you have an idea. That one I really cut uneven, but that's okay. I think it looks all right. Okay, so these are all like, this is the Sea of Galilee. Here's some grapes. I'll cut off the corners of those later. Okay, and I have Abraham getting ready to sacrifice Isaac, and I have a ram here. Those I'm not going to put in pockets when I make them into cards, and I may not make these into cards on camera, so this is what I'm telling you now. I won't put them into pockets. I'll just put them probably in Abraham and Sarah's character arc, so that when I get to the right place where I'm journaling about this, I can use these cards, because those are very, specific to a particular place. Okay, and then I have another tall, I kind of want to do the tall ones today is what I'm hoping for. Okay, so I'm going to stick all these smaller ones aside. Oops, here's another tall one. And I know that we already did this olive tree someplace, I think. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But it doesn't matter. I like it. And it's kind of an important part of Israel. So, in some ways I try not to repeat pictures. I do repeat designs on purpose. But in other ways, I have some pictures on those notebooks that I made that I'm still using on cards, because it just kind of echoes it. That's how I look at it anyway, and you can do what you want. As I've been saying through this whole thing, you can do this however you want. Okay? I hope this is all making sense to you all. I don't think I'm going to make edges of any of these. We'll see. Okay, so that's all that I feel like I need to cut right now. And this may kind of crash. I don't have a good place to put it close to my table right now. Okay, so when I'm sorting through scraps, all these little tiny scraps, these thin ones, they are going to go in the trash. Okay, I have plenty of the little triangles already, so I don't need those. This, I am going to save those narrow pieces. Okay, cut that off. Okay, and these. Okay, now do you see how when I cut them, I cut part of the photograph off because I wasn't trying to just be really exact and everything. Sometimes I'll cut that part off before I coffee dye it, but sometimes I leave it on and it makes just kind of a neat little, I don't know, it looks kind of neat on the side. You can't really tell what it's a picture of. It's just more like a design. And so it's just kind of cool. If you don't want it there, when you're going to use it, then take it off before you coffee dye, because the edge of the paper when you coffee dye it is what's, really pretty. And you don't want to have to cut that off. So then I have a file folder that I just always keep. I have one that's actually already full, so this is my second one. I really desperately need to do some coffee dyeing. So I just keep stuff in it that I need to coffee dye. And, I'll probably put in some more cheesecloth and probably some more doilies. Now, all this is going to go into the trash. And, cheesecloth doilies, 3x5 cards, and a few other things. Oh, coffee filters. You'll have to... I haven't done anything with those on camera yet. So, okay, so... I want to work with the tall ones, but I want to show you something with the smaller ones first. Okay, so let's use one of these with flowers. Okay, so we're going to just do this the same as we did the others as far as what's going on the back. Okay, so I think that'll work on the back. I kind of like that way the best. So I'm going to cut it so that it'll fit on here, and we're going to have to brown around the edges of the other one really quickly. So I'm going to just cut that all off one end so I still have one end that's coffee dyed. Okay, and I'm saving those little scraps. Okay. And we can do it on the back of this here. I'm going to just do the edges since that paper is smaller. Hopefully I'm not shaking the camera. I don't think so because it's not touching the table, I don't think. Okay. I just don't want this stark white to be showing outside of the card. Once we get this sewn on, I'm going to show you something. It's not a big deal, but it's just something little that to me just helps make the journal. Oh. Okay. All right. So we're going to sew this on the back here. Oops, it's still a little bit too big. Okay, and those will go into Franken paper, those scraps. Okay, I'm going to sew this onto the back of the card for journaling space. That's the point of these cards, is to have space to be able to journal besides journaling on the pages of the book. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly zigzag this on. You can glue it or staple it or do whatever you want. If you staple it, then you want to make sure that you put it in a pocket that is not tight, because the staples will catch on the pocket and tear it. But if it's loose enough, then it's not a problem. Okay. And I don't worry about getting my stitching perfect or anything. It's just, it is what it is. There we go. Okay, I mean, it's all messy, but you can't really, you know, it's not, it doesn't matter. Okay, so what we're going to do is at the top, we're going to punch a hole, hopefully close to the middle. Okay, I have to do it this way because I can't. I'm trying to make it so you guys can see, but then I can't see. Okay. So there's that, and I think for this one we're going to use a little bit of cheesecloth. You can use ribbon. I have yarn that I use. I use, whatchamacallit? Oh, come on. Oh, this is not going to work with paper, scissors. Yarn, twine, ribbon. Sometimes I use fabric. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of twist it up just to get it through the hole. Okay, I'm going to make a little loop, and that's what I'm going to stick through the hole. And I like to stick it from back to front. You can do whatever you want. Okay, and just bring it partway through, and then push those other two ends through the loop in a slip knot. Okay, and that way then you've got a little tab at the top. Okay, so that this way if you stick it down far in a pocket or something, you're not going to lose it. And I also like it because, like, for side pockets, it'll be sticking out like this, and it just adds more to it. And for the top pockets, then you've got stuff coming off the top, and it's really nice. Okay, now I'm looking for something specific because I want to see if maybe it might work so it can come out the bottom. I'm looking for one of those, not this one, this is just too small. But I'm looking for, there we go, here's another one. Well, that one's sewn closed. I sewed that one closed on the bottom. Okay. Well, okay, I'm going to stick it in here. Yeah, but then that's not sticking out at all. Well, we'll stick it sideways that way. There we go. That way it'll come out the side some. Because part of the reason for me of having these tabs, ribbons, or whatever on the tops of some of the tags is so that it can be sticking out the side or the top or something. I just like that. See? It adds more fuzz and interest to the side. Here it is right here. Just kind of blends in with all the rest, but it just adds more to it. Okay, so this is going to be for one of our big spaces, like one of our big, huge pockets. See, now it would work really well in a pocket like this under a belly band, but I think we're going to have plenty of stuff under the belly band, so I'm not really worried about putting something there. And I know we don't have anything on this page, but we're going to just write on it, or that might be where we put a map or something. Okay, so like I've got a little notebook here, but we could put one of these camel, one of my big cards here. Now this isn't hard enough right now. See how hard it is to stick in? Because it's just a piece of copy paper. But once I add something else to it, it'll be a lot easier to get it in there. I think I do want to leave that notebook there though, so I'll find another place for it. That might be kind of cool, right? No. Ooh, no, because we've got the notebook right there. Okay, so let's do it someplace from the close to the back because of that camel already being there. We do have this pocket that we need to put something in, but I'm kind of thinking I'm going to save those pockets for putting specific things in later while we're doing the study. Okay, so that would actually go really well right there. Okay, so we could do it right there if we want. Or, oh goodness, the glue that was on this wasn't dry on the button. Oh, don't tear, don't tear, don't tear. There we go. The glue on this button wasn't dry when I put it in there. Okay, this might actually be a good place for it because that way the camel still shows. Okay, so we're going to, I'm going to keep that open so that I don't lose my place. Okay, so I'm going to do something a little bit different on the back of this one. We still want to be able to write on it. So we're not going to cover it completely, but I'm going to do a little bit of a collage using some of these pieces that I have. I don't want to use my fabric scissors. Using some of these pieces that I have. So I'm going to cut this to use down the side. Okay. And let's just go ahead and cut it so it fits on the corner here. There we go. Can you see what I'm doing? All right, so I'm just using some of my scraps to collage this. And you know, it doesn't have to fit exactly, but I do want to try to get it to cover as much as possible. Okay, I think I need to cut off just a bit from the bottom here, just to make sure that it's all going to fit. Okay, and so we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and sew that on because I want to make sure that I cover up that dotted line there. So I'm going to sew this part here on. And I'm not too worried about some of the white showing. I'm trying to get it as close to the edge as I can, but I did cut it a little bit smaller. So some of the white's going to show, but it's not the end of the world, right? And you can use glue. Glue is actually a lot easier for collages, but again, I love to have sewing, so I'll sew it. It's just me. I'm weird. Okay, now I'm not going to go ahead and sew that in the middle yet because I don't want to have too much sewing on here. So I'll wait until I've got my other pieces. Okay, so I haven't planned this out. I'm just like doing it as we speak here. Okay, so that would be nice. And even something a little darker like this because, you know, it's still light enough to write on. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So I'm going to, all I have to really do is cut the corners off of that piece to make it fit. And I can even cut off what's sticking out from underneath of that other piece there. Okay, so let's go ahead and just unplugged it, sorry. No. There we go. If you sew, I really do recommend that you use a zigzag rather than a straight stitch. Straight stitch, I think that might be like what people are worried about could tear. it's kind of like you're making a dotted line in your fabric, you know, so it's ready to tear. And also, you know, you would have to backstitch to kind of tie it off, where with a zigzag you really don't need to backstitch. Okay. When it makes that air sound at the end, that is, it's cutting the thread. It doesn't cut it right up against it. It leaves these little tails, which I like. So it's kind of cool. All right, and maybe some of this. What do you think? You like that? I think I am going to use my glue stick on that. Well, I'm gonna have to sew there anyway, yeah, so I'm just gonna not use my glue stick. Okay, I'm just gonna sew the edge for now though. Okay. This is back a ways for me, but I think it might make it easier for you all to see. Okay. It's not like the Franken paper where I want to have stitches all over it. I just want a little bit on these. Okay, and then I've got like maybe some of this grass from the camel picture. You can't tell what it is, of course, and but you can write on it still, and that's kind of the point. So I'm gonna cut off the corner. Oh, come on. Here we go. Okay, and I'm going to sew that on, and then I'm going, keep unplugging it, sorry. I'm going to sew that on, and then I'm going to sew all the loose edges down. Sorry. I feel sometimes like it's just a comedy of errors. Oh, come on. Now I'm doing straight stitch. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to sew these parts in the middle that are left open and hanging there. Okay. I don't want to sew more than necessary in the middle. You know, and if you want to, you could, I mean, you can journal all the way across, but if you want to, you could journal separate things in these little sections too. There's a guy who does junk journals. I really like his journals, Austin something. I'll have to link him below, but he came up with that idea of journaling different things in the little sections, and I thought, that's so good. Love the idea. The junk journaling community is just so amazingly creative, and they just come up with some really fun ideas. Okay, and generous. You know, nobody is selfish or stingy about their ideas. We all like to share with each other. Not that I've really contributed that much yet, because I'm kind of new to it, but I will someday. Okay, so I just unplugged it again. So that's the back of this one, and I'm just going to leave it like this, but if you wanted to, you could put a verse down here, cut out a verse down here, or cut out a flower to put on here just to make it prettier. But I just really want to leave as much journaling space for myself as I can. So I'm going to punch a hole in this at the top, as close to the center as I can. It's going to end up going through the threads, and it doesn't like that, but actually that worked really well. Okay, so this time I think I'm going to use some of my yarn. This is some of Bill's yarn that some mice got into, and they just like, they took stuff to make nests. This isn't, you know, this isn't anything that they've used. It doesn't have mouse poo or anything on it. It's just what they left, because they just, you know, bit pieces out of it and everything, and then just left us with a whole bunch of littler pieces. And so Bill was going to throw them away, and true to the nature of junk journaling, I kept them to use. It's a super soft yarn. It's linen, and then it's got these shiny rayon strands wound around them, and it's like incredibly soft. Bill doesn't usually use things like rayon or acrylic. He just sticks with natural, but for some reason he had this yarn. He doesn't remember why, and since he doesn't really like to knit with things that aren't natural, I actually get all of it if I want. So I was going to say, if you're doing this in the summer, this is one of the bonuses that I'm offering for those of you who are doing it in the summer. This might be too fat to fit through the hole. Okay, so I'm just like twisting it in the middle so I can get it through the hole, but it might be too fat. We'll see. If you're doing this in the summer and you would like some of this yarn, send me a self-addressed envelope with 2 or 3 stamps on it, and I'll put in as much as the postage that you put on it will allow. 1 stamp probably won't allow enough to do anything with, so put on at least a couple stamps. Okay, so see that? And then we've got a nice little tassel there. Okay, so we're going to put this in this pocket. That's where we had decided. And I can make it go all the way down, but I want that tassel to stick out from the top, so I'm just bringing it up to the top there. And I want the camels to show too. Okay, so that's another way that you can make these, and we're at 26 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. And you know, you can use lace, you can use ribbon, you can use fabric, all kinds of things. I'll make some more off camera, and I'll show those to you at the beginning of our next video. We're almost done, you guys. I mean, we're seriously like just about done with this. So I love you all, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.